Welcome, everyone, to the Alt Accountant Podcast. This is Hector Garcia, CPA and small business advisor. And today I'm joined by my friend Brian Kim, CPA, who's today's most popular CPA on YouTube. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Hector. It's very flattering and nice of you to say. I'm Brian Kim. I'm a certified public accountant and owner of my tax practice.
So, Brian, give me a 1-minute elevator pitch about your business and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. We're in the Chicagoland area, but we're taking clients all over the country. We do compliance work, tax preparation. What that really means is just doing your taxes for individual income tax returns and small businesses. It's really a customized approach that we take. A lot of the bigger companies or even smaller accounting firms, they have the attitude of just churn and burn clients. They just want to get your information, get you out the door as quickly as possible. But we really like giving you a customized approach, analyzing your situation and telling you how your situation went for the current year, how you can improve and save money on a go-forward basis.
Right. And we were having a conversation before we started recording that there's certain things that your practice doesn't do. You don't take in the bookkeeping. You don't go into QuickBooks. You don't clean up QuickBooks files. You don't do QuickBooks training. You actually send that work out to maybe other specialists and bookkeepers so you can concentrate on specializing on knowing the tax code, knowing the tax law very well. So although you don't have a specialty in terms of a specific industry, you're saying you're dealing with any industry that's mostly service. You do specialize in tax, correct?
Absolutely. So like you said, it's our belief that we feel more comfortable and we think it's better for us to just specialize in tax. So we're not really touching the bookkeeping side of things. We don't do any audits. We don't do bookkeeping. We're just strictly a tax practice and just doing individual income tax returns, small business tax returns. That's who we are and that's what we do.
Awesome, man. Thank you. And one of the reasons I invited you over, first of all, you're such a cool guy, man. I've been watching your YouTube videos.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, watching your YouTube videos, watching how you basically are using YouTube as a platform to educate people on tax law and issues related to tax. And I think you started your YouTube channel maybe a couple of years ago only, right? It's a fairly new channel, correct?
I just started I think it's been about 15 months. I started in December of the prior year. So then, just over a year.
For some context, specifically for my audience, I've been doing YouTube for about 6 years. I have almost 700 videos posted, and my subscriber range is somewhere around 78,000. And Brian started, less than 2 years ago. Probably have under 100 videos. I haven't done a video count how many you have, and your subscriber range is way over 100,000. So you're doing something a lot better than I am, and I congratulate you for that. I actually love seeing fellow colleagues active in YouTube, educating the world, lifting the profession for every one of us. So I commend you on that, and congratulate you on that.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about
it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
it has been a wild ride.
And you're learning a lot about how the YouTube system works and how subscribers work, and I'm sure you've learned a lot. Can you give us some insights, probably in the past month or so? What have you learned about?
Oh my goodness, I've learned so much. I mean, just for some context, I have about 70 videos out there. But I basically started January of 2019. So January 2019 up until December of 2019. So basically for one full year, I ended my subscriber count at 950 subscribers. So 1 year, I got 950 subscribers. And then right now, so after January, February, March, so after 3 months, I'm currently at about 150,000 subscribers. So what I can say is that for 12 months, I was just creating videos. I thought I was getting a lot of views. I was so happy when, a video of mine got like 200, 300, 400 views. I was like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. But then just yesterday, we got 1.2 million views just in one day. So everything, this is just exceeding all our expectations. And we're so grateful. We're so thankful. Basically, what I'm saying is that it's a slow start. After a year, if you don't have I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers after a year. So a lot of people think that it's just like you're going to be famous or you're going to get a ton of subscribers just overnight. That's not how it works. But honestly, I mean, I didn't even know where I was going with my channel. Basically, I'm just going on camera and saying what I would normally say to clients. So it's not like I'm doing additional research or I'm doing this or that. Even like the stimulus package, like the PPP or the EDL loans or all these credits, it's basically I need to learn this for my clients anyways. I need to learn this for my business too. I'm applying for all these items also. So after I learn it and I'm applying it, then I just go on camera, I film it, might as well. So it's not like I'm doing it just for YouTube. I'm actually really applying this to my clients and to myself. It might as well just put it on the internet, That's my mentality, that's my attitude.
No, that's
value and
no, that's brilliant. And obviously where most people in our profession get stuck is that, and I used to think like that too. I mean, all up to maybe 6 years ago, that the knowledge that we learn, the know-how that we learn, the little tricks of the trade and the things that we learn along the way as we kind of learn the hard way dealing with customers and dealing with IRS and all the obstacles in our profession, we think that knowledge is our ace in the sleeve. Exactly. And giving that away is giving away your edge. However, what you've learned, and I want to talk to you about what has that done for your practice in a second, but what you have learned is that when you give away the knowledge, you essentially end up owning it. Because when a person hears or learns that knowledge for the very first time, they kind of remember the person that taught it to them, right? Without getting too much into personal details, but there's an expression that says you always remember your first one, right? Your first one, whatever, right? You always remember your first one. So the first person that gave you that piece of knowledge, a tool to be a better human being, a better business owner, a better person that manages their finances, that tool, it comes in your back of your head, and they remember the person that taught them, and that creates so much goodwill. On top of the fact, Brian, and I think you've noticed this too, that once you start putting the videos out there, your customers stop asking you the same question over and over because they're watching you and they're learning from your videos. Has that been your experience?
My clients are watching this, or they're probably going to be watching this. So yeah, I mean, the vast majority of my clients have contacted me and they're like, hey, you showed up on my feed as a recommended video. So yeah, I mean, it's funny that they're watching my videos and I'm answering any questions that that they were going to ask. So yeah, I mean, what you said is absolutely true. It's so funny, but yes, that's correct, and that's how it is.
And you have a team too, right? You have people working under you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, has that helped your team as well, watching you do the videos? Like, what has that done for you?
Absolutely. Because I mean, honestly, I got to give them so much credit because they're the ones helping me getting all the research done as well. I mean, I'm able to produce the videos so quickly because yes, I mean, I am absorbed in the information and researching as much as possible, but then they're helping me source all the information, fact checking it, getting all that information, and they're applying it to their clients as well that they're seeing and taking care of. So it's a whole team effort. Everyone's chipping in. And I have no video editing skills. I don't know how to make a thumbnail. They're helping me with that too, the SEO and all that. So I mean, everybody's shipping in. I'm so thankful to my whole team. They're great.
That's so cool, Brian. I'll maybe privately I'll give you some YouTube tips, but now I'm thinking that maybe I should learn from you because I don't get 1 million views.
No, I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to improving, learn. I'm always constantly even just finding ways to improve this or that. All the nitpicky stuff. Yeah,
well, I'll give you one quick tip, and you've noticed this already, is when you find a niche, when you find a specific type of video, type of content, video size, video topic, you stick with it. And obviously, the topic that you've been hot on, your channel's been hot on, it's on the stimulus package. So real quick about the stimulus package. So can you give us maybe a 1 minute Reader's Digest version? What exactly is the stimulus package? And then after you give us that, tell me why you think so many people are searching and finding your video and watching your video?
Well, I mean, that's a lot to say. I'll try to say in 1 minute. So the stimulus package, I mean, there's been 3 stimulus packages. I mean, the first one was just with healthcare. The second one was much smaller. It was with the sick leave, family leave. But the one that everyone is focused on and what's all over the news and media, it's the third stimulus package. And this is the one that's got all the goodies. I mean, that's the stimulus checks, which, everybody's looking forward to. Hopefully we get that soon. There's also the forgivable loans for the sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed, small business owners. There's the EDL loan. There's a PPP loan. And on top of that, there's a bunch of other tax adjustments that are favorable. One example is take money out of retirement accounts. There's no penalty this year. And there's just a ton of tax changes that are favorable and beneficial. But those are the main topics within the stimulus package. The reason why that people are just going crazy about this is because it's a source of free money, and people need money right now. I mean, it's obviously if you're in one of the major cities that are on, that are locked down, business is hurting everywhere. No matter, it's a financial disaster. It's an economic disaster right now. So people are looking for these sources of free money. That's why it's really relevant and really hot as a topic, because we the people need the money.
And it's changing, and like it seems like the rules of the game are changing every day, which is the reason why you're coming out with content daily, right?
It is. It really is, because the way that it's just a fight between the Treasury, the Small Business Administration, and the banks that's just administering the whole process. So it's just frustrating because these guys are talking tax language and these guys are talking like plain English, and it's just so confusing. It's a disaster. It's just a bloody disaster. And I've heard that the smaller community banks, and I'm talking about the forgivable loans, they're approving some of the PPP loans, but approving doesn't mean the cash is flowing. So I don't even think anyone's been funded. I mean, this is just a disaster. I'm getting my clients right now. I'm looking at my inbox this morning because now more of the PPP loan application portals are going up. I'm getting like the screenshots from my clients from like Chase Bank, Bank of America, and the smaller ones like community banks. And everyone's application and request for information submittal is different. And it's just some people are asking for it's like a laundry list of things. It's so crazy and so ridiculous. And it's different because not only is it just business entities, 1120, C Corps, S Corps partnerships, but it's also the sole proprietors, independent contractors, employed. So it's different requirements for everybody, and it's just so crazy. And what drives me crazy is that the sole proprietors, independent contractor, and self-employed, they're all one person. They're all the same thing. That drives me nuts. But that's just a difference between the language that the IRS is using versus what the Treasury is using. For some reason, the Treasury thinks that independent contractors, sole proprietors are different people. For tax purposes, they're all the same thing. So it just drives me nuts. And again, that's what's going on. That's what's the holdup. SBA, Treasury, IRS, they're all fighting. It's so ridiculous. And they can't get their crap together to just get the money flowing to the people who need it. And you have businesses, my clients are going down. Some are beyond hopeless. They're gone. They're not coming back. So PPP, EDL, doesn't matter. It's game over for them. All they got now is unemployment. It's great, wonderful, But then, basically, they just need to get their act together and get the money flowing. I cannot believe it's just this disastrous. They can't even get the stimulus checks out. Like, what the heck? Anyways, that's my rant.
I hear your frustration.
It's frustrating. It really is, because this is affecting my clients. This is affecting the people I know. This is affecting my family members. It's so ridiculous. Like, get this money going. Like, what the heck? Like, I cannot believe that they're going this slow when people need the money. It's so crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, politically speaking, we could probably schedule another episode to talk about the politics behind this and all that stuff. But unfortunately, there are no CPAs in Congress, which is really obvious, right? That the actual accounting and tax language is not being used in Congress. So you have lawmakers that create a bill where the intent is to help. Absolutely right. The intent is to help, and government's always trying to help, but they always muck things up. But so the intent is to help. And then you got Treasury, who's the one that administers the funds. So you got Congress authorizing the expenditure or the printing of money, let's call it that, or taking on debt in order to fund this. Then Treasury is administering it, which is the one giving the directions to the banks and the SBA. The SBA is the mechanism in which they guarantee the funds, and the banks use the SBA in order to have a way of getting paid back if the customer defaults. And then you have the banks who are lending money using underwriting criteria that they have never used before. And the bonus of all this is to have a week to do it, right? And then you have the president and the secretary of treasury setting an expectation that, oh, don't worry, this will be done on Friday. You'll get funded the same day. And then meanwhile, I have customers crying in my office saying, I can't get to Wells Fargo. And then they hear that Wells Fargo has an asset cap. Yep. And then they can't get to Bank of America because I don't have a credit card. And they can't get to Chase because I don't know, whatever, Chase can't get the website right. Citibank is non-existent. I mean, again, the intent is we're going to take on debt as a country. We're making this choice, right? We're taking on debt as a country. We're possibly devaluing the dollar. We're robbing from our kids in the future, right? In order to save the economy today, which is a decision that our lawmakers made, good or bad, and for the purpose of flowing the money in there, but they never even thought about the mechanics of flowing the money in there. And Brian, you're probably starting to see the writing on the wall. How much fraud is there going to be with these programs?
Exactly. But so I understand that the whole process of getting the money out to the businesses, I understand that there needs to be a solid process. So there's no fraud, or you're minimizing fraud, because I'm sure a lot of these applications are just going to be bogus. I understand that. However, I mean, they gotta expedite the process. But again, I understand that they're taking their time to make sure that everything's good, to minimize fraud or this or that, or get the money to the people who need it, and just get the process done correctly. But in the meantime, you have businesses going down, you have jobs being cut. It's a disaster.
Yeah. So let's stop talking about everything that's wrong with this country. that way the conversation doesn't go.
No, the country's great. And I really
right. The country's great.
Their intent to help the people. I really do. But you know what? You can't just leave the people hanging like this. Like, what the heck? I mean, let's get this together. Let's stop the circus act. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I think a quick solution would have been, hey guys, we're expanding unemployment benefits, right? Whoever needs it, needs it. Whoever doesn't, keep on working. And we're going to get this sorted out by June or May or whatever, where we're going to do stimulus package. But the problem is, politically speaking, they need to look like, everybody needs to look like heroes. And look, I get it, but this has to be done right. So I want to talk to you about maybe some of the advice that you've been giving your customers. Maybe we can have a conversation about what advice we've been giving our customers, because we've talked about all the things that are wrong and chaotic at the moment, but there's some silver lining, and there's some things that as accounting professionals, we can help our clients with. The number one question I'm getting from my clients, specifically on the unemployment topic, is, our businesses shut down? And shut down might mean quarantine, or it might mean in the industry that we're in, there's just no customers, right? People don't need a brand new pool right now in a moment of crisis. So the pool makers, and that might be a bad example, because pool people might be the opposite, right? Everybody doesn't have a pool, needs a pool so they can throw the kids there while they work. But I'm just saying there's certain services, there's certain products that people are just not buying right now, and those companies are shut down. And the question they're asking me is, should I lay them off? Should I formally lay off my employees so they can go to unemployment? And then once the stimulus package comes in and maybe I get the PPP loan or whatever, then I'll think about bringing them back in. And I tell people I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you a legal answer. But people tell me, Hector, I know you're not an attorney. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? So what would you do, man? You're a small business owner. Your business is quarantined and shut down. Should you lay off your employees if you have no work coming in?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing with the PPP. It's because if you have reduced headcounts or reduced compensation payouts, then the forgiveness of the loan is reduced or eliminated. So that's the thing. In that case, if you lay off your people, yeah, I mean, you gotta bring them back, in order for you to get the forgivable amount of the PPP loan applied.
And to be clear, that's okay. It's legal. You can bring them back. That's legal, correct?
Bring them back. That's correct. Right. Within the 8-week period. I mean, you're supposed to bring them back, get them paid, and then, that's not going to count against you then for having a reduction in your headcount. However, these unemployment benefits, like I haven't checked. It's again, like you said, it's changing on a daily basis. I don't know if the federal, that $600 per week, I don't know if that's kicked in yet. And I don't think that the state unemployment agency, obviously the unemployment benefits are run at the state level. I don't know if they've coordinated their systems to take on the expanded coverage of the sole proprietors, independent contractors, and those people too. So I don't know if all the federal assistance for the state unemployment has already been implemented. Otherwise, it's going to be the low rates, unemployment rates that you're normally accustomed to before all this happened. So it's just a question of, is that even best for your employees? But then is that best for the employer, your client? It's a combination. It's just a mixture. But in terms of just the PPP program, yeah, I mean, you can lay them off, but then you got to bring them back. But I don't know how long it'll take. It depends on your state. If that person goes on unemployment, if you tell the employee go on unemployment, I don't know how long it'll take for the employee benefits or the unemployment benefits to kick in. So it might just be a few days of unemployment benefits and hey, come back to work. It's just kind of silly,
Right. And here's a big question that like my restaurant clients are asking me. I don't have a lot of restaurant clients. That's not my focus.
So hard.
Yeah, ridiculous. Those are the hardest. But okay, so the employees go on unemployment and they get their unemployment checks. And they get the extra $600. Let's assume that.
I mean, how
does unemployment work for waiters that made most of their money with tips? How does that even work with unemployment? Like, are they even going to get enough money?
State, but no, you're not guaranteed to get the state maximum or the federal maximum of the additional 600. It's additional funding, but it's based off your wages. So some people if they get unemployment, they might get close to nothing. I mean, that's another problem. It's just based off how much you've been contributing, based off your wages. So it just really depends on your income levels, how much you're going to get paid out for unemployment, and also based on your state.
So specifically waiters, and that's not my specialty. I don't think I have any waiter clients, but I'm thinking that waiters that traditionally have not claimed all their tips cash income, those are not going to get, they're going to get the smallest unemployment checks, I assume.
Right. It just depends on your wage history. That's how it works with this at the state level for your state unemployment. They look at your wage history by quarters. And the lower the income that you've been reporting, then the lower your payout's going to be. But that's not just for waiters on tips. I mean, it's for everyone who's on the lower income scale. I mean, they're not going to be getting what they're advertising in the media. They're not going to be getting like the $800 or $1,000 a month, which is the 600 plus the ordinary state benefits. So some people are like, I'm going to make so much money on unemployment. I'm going to make 800 a week or 1,000 a week. No, that's not true. I mean, a lot of people, they don't understand that.
Now let's assume for a second that someone gets an unemployment and they get the additional $600 a week, exactly as stated by or touted by our officials. And their base was $200 and then plus 600 is 800 a week. And let's say they do make the $3,200, which is technically after tax, so there's no withholding on it, right? $3,200 clean in your bank account from unemployment. Now your employer gets the PPP loan, they get funded, they need to hire you back. And then they say, okay, come back to work.
Well, and they don't need to rehire that person. They could just hire somebody else.
That's a good point, right? Because rehiring anyone on unemployment that has kids at home, that they're looking at unemployment check, they're saying I can stay at home instead of going to work. Are they even going to want to go back to work?
Right. 1 second. I just lost you on screen. Okay. No, but I mean, if they're qualifying for the maximum benefits, again, it's per state. Let's just say it's at an annualized run rate of, $32,000 or whatever it may be. Then that's the thing. They're probably more likely making more working than the unemployment rates.
Hopefully, right? Hopefully.
Well, I understand your point. If you're getting that, that's a nice payout for doing nothing. There's not much incentive to go back to work. But from what I understand, it's only 4 months of the 600 additional. Just sooner or later, all that's going to happen.
Good point. Now, what about a situation where your business cannot function, right? So like I'm thinking, I'm trying to give advice to my clients. We have a restaurant that can only do takeout. So you only need a skeleton crew.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how are you going to bring the employees back?
Exactly. It's so stupid because the PPP, the forgiveness amount, is based off the loan origination date, and then you have the 8 weeks to see which qualifying expenses you spent it on. And then let's just say this continues, the lockdown continues. What is it? It's April.
Let's assume June 30th the country's not locked. Let's just make that assumption.
Not even like even to the mid-May or end of May. Because if that PPP money starts flowing right now and they get the money right now, I think most states are locked at least until April 30th. They're probably going to go until May 15th or May 30th. Then in that situation, that's a perfect scenario. How are you supposed to spend the money on qualified expenses if you can't even bring the people back because your restaurant's not even open, for sit-in customers? It's just ridiculous. It's not just restaurants too. It's so many service providers. I can't even get a haircut. I can't even get a haircut. I'm searching all this around the city. I can't get a haircut. Those people it's the same thing. They're shut down. What about all the stylists, the barbers, all those people? It's not just the restaurants. It's so many service provider businesses. It's so crazy.
All right. No, man. So that way, so we don't drag this along because we're probably going to, we can go this forever. Let's talk about
these are good points because what do you do in that situation if you get the PPP loan and you can't even have the expenses, the qualifying expenses to use it on because you have only 8 weeks to do so? That's the examination date, the 8 weeks from the origination date of the loan. And then if you can't even rehire people, you can't even bring back people. What the heck? It's so crazy.
I have a feeling a lot of cousins and uncles and aunts and stuff are going to be hired by these small businesses to just make headcount, right? Probably.
Yeah, sure.
Probably. The only logical thing I see. I mean, I wonder if I can hire my 7-year-old, to get the headcount because there's nothing in the code that says how old the employee needs to be, and the IRS allows us to pay 7-year-olds on payroll. So I wonder, this year will be a year of very creative accounting.
Oh yeah. Honestly, so many times, I'll be honest, an accountant in most situations, it's not worth it. You can just go on TurboTax. In this situation, this year, wow, perfect year to have an accountant.
Right. And you got back-to-back law changes from 2017 and now 2020. It looks like they just asked Congress another $250 billion for the small business stimulus package. Plus, there will probably be, if this thing goes longer, there'll probably be some other weird change to the tax code, some sort of tax holiday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so I think this is the year that if you don't have an accountant, you better start befriending one and call Brian, check out his YouTube channel. What's that? Your YouTube channel is what? ClearValue Tax? What's the name of your channel?
That's right.
Yeah, check out Brian's YouTube channel. It's got tons of content on stimulus package, on PPP loans, you're starting to do some content on the employer credits, which is an alternative to the PPP loans. So for the folks that didn't get the funding through loans, they will get indirect funding through payroll credits, and that's a little bit more complicated. And you need an accountant for that. I'm 100% certain. Or hire a big payroll company that has their stuff together, like ADP, which got the PPP loan calculation wrong in the first place. Having an accountant now and being an accountant now is just such a good thing. I think both things are such a good thing. Brian, tell me something. What is the best business advice that you ever got?
The best business advice, honestly, it's choose one thing and just keep going at it. You're going to see so many people, just going from one idea to the next trending idea to trying this thing, trying that thing. My advice is stick to one thing. Well, one thing you enjoy, one thing you're good at, or one thing that you like. Just stick to it. Keep going. Be an expert in that field, and just keep going. And you're gonna reap the benefits of being a master and expert in that field. You don't want to be a jack of all trades. That's nice, but you'd rather just be the king or the ace. To be honest, that's my advice.
That's perfect advice, Brian. Brian, how can people get a hold of you or learn more about what you do?
Definitely visit our YouTube channel at ClearValue Tax. And thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, Hector. And you can also visit us at cvtaxpreparation.com. But please check out our YouTube channel, ClearValue Tax.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.